I want to welcome everybody to TGD Today, a very special edition of TGD Today. It's Hugh and George Talking Masters 2015.
About time.
It's here, dude.
I know it.
The Godfather leaves here, grabs his bags, and heads to Atlanta, playing Eastlake, and then heading to Augusta.
Good for you. I'm looking forward. I want to hear how Eastlake is, too. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm going to bring you something back.
I hear you. I'm
going to bring you a little prize.
I hope it's what you promised me, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, dude, I can't deliver what I promised.
But tomorrow's a very special
I just
day.
hope the egg salad lasts till next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the sandwich tomorrow.
I hear you. But yeah,
I'll put it in my bag. Maybe it'll stay fresh in there.
This is a very special week for Heather and I, too. Tomorrow marks our, what is it, our 17th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Our first date. So, we had our first date at Augusta, and that's where she met Fuzzy for the first time, so it was pretty cool.
Wow,
so.
That is neat. Yeah. I just can't believe she's hung with you this long.
Well,
dude.
I can't either, but everybody gets lucky every now and then.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, when we're coming on for this show, and, we're going to cover all things Masters. We normally do the round table. We normally do Tech Talk. We normally do Pro Golf Talk Live. But, frankly, it's like I told our executive producer, let's just talk Masters.
Absolutely. I mean, why would we talk about anything else? I mean, it's all everybody's talking about. I mean, heck, we just found out Mr. Nicklaus just made a hole-in-one in the par 3 tournament on number 4. So,
I was going to come out with that as a prediction. So they don't know when we're doing this show. So I was going to come out with a prediction, and you just ruined it.
Well, I'm sorry I ruined it, but you know what? I have to beat you to the punch every now and then. If I don't, I
that's
never
true.
get in a word in edgewise, right, Jeff?
No. Not true.
But yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about get everybody kind of up to speed here. Of course, up until the middle of last week, it was this is the year for Rory. This is his year. Is he going to complete the career Grand Slam? And then Tiger sends the tweet out, I am playing. And now the Tiger story is 1, and Rory's now 1A.
And Bubba's about number 10. And he's a defending champion.
I know.
I mean, it just doesn't.
I'm impressed actually that Bubba got invited to the press tent.
I'm impressed. They even published his menu from last night.
Yeah.
So
baked chicken. By the way.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese.
Yep.
Cream potatoes. Green beans. Corn.
The Tiger.
That was the menu.
Tiger's going to be number 1, George. I mean, he's been the greatest player in the world for how many years now? I mean, and he's been hurt and been out and had the yips and the shanks and this, that, and the other. And now all of a sudden he's back playing and he's confident. And I think the big thing about it is the fact of how he's been with the media. He hasn't been so, he's joking with them. He's talking. He's having fun.
Well, even during his practice.
He's like a different person.
Even during his practice, he's got the earplugs in. He's jamming. He's doing little dances out there. He's, he kind of shunned the kids that collected at the driving range day before yesterday. There had to be 20 or 25 kids behind the ropes there. They have a certain little section they allow the children to come in. And, there was kids there that they had all swarmed the autograph area when he started coming from the clubhouse out to the practice range. And he notified them, look, I'm not going to get you right now, but I get you when I get done. And those kids literally 2 hours, 45 minutes, they stood there. He came back, he signed 1 on the front end, and then he signed 2 on the back end, and then he left.
I can't answer that, and I'm not going to try to justify any of it. I mean, I think, you got kids that stand there that long, you stand there and sign it all for them.
Oh, well,
that's just my
Mickelson was
opinion.
there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
Ricky Fowler, 10 minutes, 15 minutes probably.
And I agree with where you're going with this, but also with everything that he's been going through and all the the hype and the pressure and whatnot.
I'm not going to say
it's
he
work.
was late.
It's work. It's the Masters. It's it is.
Well,
Yes, I'm going to sign autographs and do that if I happened to be there. But it's, this is a guy that's been injured. He's been out for 9 weeks, and now all of a sudden he's back and he wants to play in his favorite tournament in the world and try to compete. It's work. It is a job, George. You can't forget that.
More power to him. I just, it's a shame.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying it is a job.
Oh, I understand that,
You
dude. I'm the first one
You
to
handle
understand.
your job a lot different than I do, or Jeff does, or we all do it differently.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sit here and judge someone when you really don't know what's going on. I agree with you. The kids are very, very important when it comes to professional sports and the athletes that they, admire and look up to.
I'm just saying, especially Tiger and the way that he has hurt his image over the years by various different things. He almost would be the first one that would be there to spend the little extra time to maybe put some Band-Aids on some of those wounds.
I would agree with you. I would think he would do that, but he didn't. And
I
think for us to
who
sit here
knows?
and judge him,
he might have gone back later and done it.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm reporting on what I saw.
Yeah.
So, I just thought that was kind of a little tacky. But moving on. He's gone out on the course. He obviously looks good. The short game looks good. He's chipping. He's making successful practice time for the short game. Joey seems to be lighthearted. Joey LaCava is caddy. He seems to be lighthearted, laughing, smiling.
And finally, he gets to do that because Joe is like that.
Yeah, and we've seen tournaments past that it wasn't that way.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger didn't have that jovial mentality. He seems to be interacting a lot with Rory on the driving range. Each day there seems to be interaction there with Rory and other players too. So, but, it is what it is. So do you see – there's all kind of bets you can make with Tiger. But now, seeing that he's story number one, let's go ahead and address it first. Do you see Tiger making the cut?
I just think that I'll put it to you this way. This should be his number one priority. It's not winning. It's making the cut.
Okay.
You make the cut, then you work on competing to get yourself up there with an opportunity. I think his biggest hurdle at the moment is, for me, number one is finishing 36 holes, period.
Health-wise.
Or excuse-wise.
Or psychologically.
Either way. Whether it's health, psychological, or just making an excuse because it's not going well. He makes the cut. If he makes the cut, I would not be surprised to see Tiger up there on the leaderboard somewhere. Just because getting over that hurdle, he's going to be one of those like Secretariat. Once they get out in front, or once they get that daylight they can see, they're going to run with it. The one I would be worried about the cut. Now, I'm not joking with you. And we heard it a little while ago. Rory McIlroy, to be perfectly honest.
Interesting. Why is that?
I think with all the hype and the number one in the world and all the press conferences and all the, everything going on around, it wouldn't surprise me if he missed a cut. He has not played Augusta very well in the past. He has here and there, but you look at last year, played the par 5, was it 6 over par? Made 6.
Actually, 8
made
over.
6. Yeah.
Actually, 8 over par.
So, and he loses by 8.
And last year he was 8 over par and he lost by 8 to Bubba.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I'm not. The guy's he's the best player in the world. He's a great talent. He's got a gorgeous golf swing. I don't know mentally if he's there. Is there too much pressure?
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at his record. His best finished at the Masters is 8th. That was in 2014.
And that came out of nowhere.
And he ended up shooting 69 on Sunday to get there. His other rounds last year, 71, 77, 71. His other best finish was in 2011, tied for 15th, where he started on Thursday with a 65. Then he shoots 69, 70, 80. Remember the 80.
Frosty can show up in a hurry at Augusta now.
And then back in 2009, his first year, he tied for 20th. 72, 73, 71, 70. You see here some glaring numbers, Hugh, and there's a 77, there's 2 77s, there's 3 77s, there's an 80, a 76, and then you see a 65, you see 69s. He either goes extremely low for one round, or he's going to be back up there above par for his stroke average.
And I'll put it to you this way. After listening to an interview And yes, I actually watched the Golf Channel and listened to the interviews, and listening to him talk, he said, I think I was just too conservative with my iron play because Augusta is a second shot golf course. And he's 100% correct. Okay. You've got to drive the ball well. You've got to put it in play. But he said, I think I was too conservative with my second shot, my iron play, my iron shots. I need to be more aggressive. And when I heard that, George, that's why this came into my mind. That's why I said what I said.
All right.
Because here's my take on this, and I'm nobody. But if you get aggressive with your iron play and you miss your spot, you're deader than a doornail. Okay? I think I understand what he means by this, and that's kind of what I'm hoping and trying to take out of this instead of the way it came across. He needs to be more aggressive in hitting his parameters on the green. His
and we've talked about this. You need to play
or shelves or whatever.
You play the zones.
Yeah, exactly.
You play the zones on Augusta National greens,
and you've got to know where and when to miss. And if you miss in the wrong place at Augusta, you can be 6 feet from the hole, and you've got literally no chance.
Well, it's like if you hit the wrong zone on 4, the par 3, then you either have an 8-foot putt or you have an 80-foot putt.
Well, look at number 5.
Yeah, same thing.
But, I mean, putting at Augusta is like, God rest his soul, the legend, my father said, go get in your bathtub and try to stop the putt before it gets to the drain. That's what it's like.
Right.
It can't. You put it in the wrong place, you can't stop it.
And I don't care how much rain they get. Remember, folks, they've got the sub-air system. So they can dry these things out as much as they want. They don't need wind. They don't need sun. They basically temperature control these things throughout the day, throughout the play. So, I've heard weather reports, and it's going to rain this. Yeah, that's going to affect the fairways. They don't have sub-air in the fairways. That's going to affect the fairways, and then your Jordan Spieth of the world, who not exactly the longest player, that's when they'll be affected if this thing does soften up.
Well, I was listening last night and listening to Brandel and Duval and them talk about it, and Frank Nobilo was on for a little while with Rich Lerner and them, and I mean they're talking how the fairways are soft. The balls are not running out. So it's playing the way that the players want it to play, the way the committee wants it to play. Where they're going to run into trouble is if it rains like you're talking about and the mud balls start coming into play. You get mud on your golf ball and you're not allowed to touch it, folks, obviously. That ball can go anywhere. You can try to judge what's on the right side so it's going left. Not necessarily. It's just like hitting a flyer out of the rough. You don't know how far it's going to go. You don't know which direction it's going to go.
Pretty much any other golf course, you can get away with hitting mud balls. I mean, we've all had mud balls. We've all hit it, and, that went right, and that's because the mud was on this, the right side of the ball, and it went right, and it goes whatever. Augusta, even with a great clean ball and a perfect lie,
there's no guarantees.
That's right.
So that's what I'm saying.
There's little to no room.
There
for
are
mistake.
A lot of things that come into play in this, but I mean, I just when Roy was saying that, it just came across to me.
I see your point.
Very, very naive.
I see your point.
Almost like really. You don't go pin hunting seeking out there unless it's on certain holes where you can use slopes to help you get there. You start firing at pins on 12, 11. Get over there to 13, 15. You're not going to finish.
Well, if you look at his records as far as Rory, if you look at his stats, he's averaging about 69% fairways hit. Where he's really dropped the ball, Hugh, and by me looking at the numbers, and I mean, you're the pro here, I'm not, but his scrambling percentage is literally at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
He's at 57% scrambling. And you can't play Augusta without a scramble. That's where Jordan Spieth makes his money. Jordan Spieth can get up and down.
Well,
Phil Mickelson can get up and down.
And that's where Tiger made his too.
Back in the day.
I mean, Tiger has hit one of the most famous shots ever on 16 that's still replayed to this day.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with you. I think that's the issue. And,
But to have to scramble to work on those percentages, that means you're not hitting your irons. That means you're not hitting greens.
Yeah.
Am I right?
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
And at Augusta, there's times where you can hit perfect golf shots, folks, and it doesn't stay on the green.
Well, that's rub of the green. I mean, we all know Augusta is that way. If you come up short on 9, it's coming back down the hill with spin. Whatever. I mean, there's every hole out there really has that cause and effect.
I agree.
And so, but if he is in the lower percentile on scrambling again this week, he doesn't have a snowball's chance.
And that's where I say that I think that's got a lot to do with maturity. It's got a lot to do with imagination. And, everybody is, everything you see a Tiger, how many full swings have you seen him make on television? Not many. Not many.
At Augusta,
yes.
Or in the past?
At Augusta. This week.
No, I watched 3 holes the other day where he was out on the course. I watched him do his warm-up drills. You know me, I don't sleep, so I just kind of sit up and get on the internet and look at this stuff.
Well, they showed him last night. They showed him hit a 2-iron into number 2 into the bunker, and then get in the bunker and hit a couple of different bunker shots. And they showed him hit 1 tee shot off of number 7 with an iron that looked like he semi-shanked it out to the right in the trees.
Right.
And everything else you saw was with him and Joe and Mark O'Meara, and him hitting pitch shots and chip shots.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, we just had this thing that, the wedges that he just got. I mean, you've just seen the dead copy of them. Mm-hmm. And if you can't chip with those, there's something mentally wrong.
Sure.
Because with that amount of bounce around that golf course, you should be a wizard.
He looks awfully lighthearted out on the practice tee, and frankly, we've kind of talked about him more than I would care to. But I don't know. I say he doesn't make the cut. Well, that's where I stand.
I think it's a pretty safe bet, George. I think you've got a pretty good chance to make that money if you make that bet with Vegas.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if he gets over the hurdle, and he does, just watch. Let's see what he does.
Okay.
Because I think that's the biggest thing for him.
And I'll go back to Roy. I say he does make the cut. I don't think he'll win, but I say he does make the cut. So while we're talking about players, by the way, Professor Weldon, if you're listening in, I think you're out of your mind. I heard the word Jonas Blitz thrown out. And I'm listening to Fantasy Golf.
Jeff, you got to cut out the scotch on the the show that they're doing.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't let.
Well, he listed some names, but evidently off the air, Professor Weldon kind of threw out Jonas Blitz's name. And you know what? I'm going to give Professor Weldon credit here. I actually wrote down some names for our picks, like we do, and Jonas Blitz was in my second group tier. And I don't know, I looked at his numbers, his past performances, and
Jeff, can you overdose on Geritol?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that's the case. It causes your hair to
Now I agree. I agree,
especially if you snort it.
Hey, I agree with Pro Weldon now. And when it comes to Martin Keimer, I'm all in. I agree with him 100%. I think that guy has got the game. He's got the mentality.
Martin Keimer.
I think he's got the personality.
What?
He can win this thing.
No.
Yes.
Ain't no way.
I'm just saying.
Ain't no way.
No, that's just my opinion.
What about Stinson?
Let me hold on. I'm going to mention the names. He listed Stinson, Day, Watson, and Walker. That was his 4. Okay. But you're sitting here saying Martin Tiger's got a better chance of making the cut than Keimer does.
Well, you can get a game. You can get a game.
I tell you what. Let's throw from the dollar menu. Let's throw a burger on it.
You're on it. I'll bring breakfast when you get back.
All right, babe.
Or you can bring breakfast. Right. How's that?
Well, yeah, we'll just go back to days of old.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, so let's talk players. I bring up Professor Weldon, and, of course, golf guru himself, Jeff Deal, had his picks, and I think Stefan had some picks, and then Jimmy, of course, him and Bubba's been spooning for 2 years now, so he picks Bubba to win last week at the A&A Inspiration, so I can write down Jimmy's picks before he even alerts the media, so... Let's talk about some of these players. Right. Jason Day's name has been thrown around an awful lot this week, and we have a ton of Australian listeners to our network. Mm-hmm. I think that's a solid, as long as, quote unquote, his wrist, some other issues that he has, is good, healthy, and he stays in the moment.
I tell you what, and you know how much I admire that young man for his golf swing from a technical standpoint and just from viewing and watching it. I don't know if you can swing that hard and that out of control for that many times in a 72-hole event and win Augusta. If he does, I will be the first person to say, I was wrong. But the kid's pace is never the same.
Mm-hmm.
And he hits too many shots that just come out of nowhere that get away from him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. In his pairing starting tomorrow, I guess I'm dating the show here, Jeff. I hope you don't mind. In his pairing is Group 33 going off at 1:59 p.m. on Thursday afternoon, the first round of Augusta, the 79th edition of the Masters. Jason Day is paired with Sergio Garcia and Ricky Fowler. That's quite a pairing.
That's a great group. Young stars. Well, two young stars and
Sergio.
One older guy.
Yeah, and Sergio, who I think's playing in his 50th event, something like that.
Yeah.
Not to have won one.
Not to have won any major.
Is Sergio the guy to the best player to have not won a major? Is he that guy? He has been for several years. But again, this year in 2015, is he the guy, or have we moved on to the point where we don't think Sergio's going to win a major?
There's a lot of people still holding on to that one. I mean, the guy's a great. He is one of the best players around. Been
phenomenal
around for
ball
a long
striker.
time. I mean,
phenomenal ball striker.
He is. But I mean, I just.
And he's not as good as Jose Maria Olazabal or as Seve, but he has learned from both, and I think he has some of that blood in him. He has a good short game. I don't know, dude.
You know my feelings on the situation.
I'd love to see him win. I would love to see him win. I'm getting almost to the point of the cliff, right at the edge, and I'm almost tired of rooting for him. I'm almost there. Last year I was on the Sergio train.
Oh, you were big time on it, and it's just the whining and the moaning and the pouting, and just play golf, go win a golf tournament, and just go on.
Yeah. Okay.
But I like Fowler now.
You like Ricky?
I think Ricky's he's been playing decent. I mean, not great, but not bad either.
No.
And
I mean, when you look at the top 10 on any leaderboard for the last several weeks, Ricky's going to be there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think this very well could be his week.
You think so?
Coming as kind of one of the dark horses. But, I like him as a C-type pick. If you're picking 4 players, I think he's a great C pick.
Well, that's fantasy golf stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and
we don't.
Looking at that, I to be perfectly honest, I mean, Jordan Spieth has got to be at the top of a lot of people's lists. I think Dustin Johnson has to be. I mean, I was talking to somebody about Dustin, and I know how you feel about this, but I'm telling you, you don't run around Doral like he did and dominate the way he did at Doral without having something there that's different.
I agree. I just it's all going to boil down to DJ what happens these first 2 days. If he goes out and posts 74 round 1, and then he tries to correct those couple of tee balls, whether it's 3-wood or whatever he uses, because he pushed it or he pulled it or whatever he did, and then he starts correcting with other clubs, or I'll go ahead and fly it down to the bottom of here, or I'll go ahead and fly it up to there, or whatever. If he starts changing his course management aspect, which DJ's known for, then he's chasing the rabbit that he'll never catch.
Oh, I agree with you. But I tell you what, if he can go out there and, like you said, stick to his game plan, play from point A to point B, and post a couple of 70s, maybe a 69 and a 70, watch out.
Okay.
I mean, there's going to be some low scores because, I mean, the
we're going to see, and I was thinking about this before we went on the air, there's going to be the Cameron Tringali who's going to post 66 day 1. Hold on, don't laugh now, okay?
Charlie's not playing, so you can't go mentioning him.
No. You're going to see Robert Streb, or you're going to see, I don't know, Matt Kuchar or Steve Stricker or
You're
somebody.
going to see Freddie.
Mark O'Meara.
Freddie will be there for 3 days until he gets tired and can't
That's
go
right.
anymore.
That's right.
He does it every year.
That's right. So you're going to see the 66 through 68s, maybe even a token 65, and then we won't even see these individuals on the first 3 pages of the leaderboard come Saturday.
I agree.
So moving on. Also with Spieth and his group, and I think this is pairing A, and the other pairing we talked about, Day, Garcia, and Fowler, were A1A.
Okay.
Pairing A is Group 29 at 115. Spieth, Stenson, Billy Horschel.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Spieth is all day long going to be sweeping up the parking lot between Horschel and Stenson and his ball.
Yep.
Because Stenson's probably 20 yards longer than Jordan with a 3-wood.
Yep.
But Stenson, you talk about mentality, you talk about focus. If he can get that Odyssey putter rolling, Stenson is, I think, a strong candidate to win this.
I'm not going to argue one bit with you.
The maturity. I mean, we saw him disappear from the face of the earth. You and I have talked about this on a couple of occasions.
Hey, do you have 911 on speed dial? Because you know who I'm going to tell you, and you're going to look at me and
You're not going to go to the push cart pairing, are you? There is one pairing that they've given push carts to. You didn't know that, did you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the pairing of Zach Johnson, Jim Furyk, and Ernie Els.
No.
They've got push carts.
No. And 2 of them are close friends, but no,
I know
didn't
that.
know that.
I know that.
But I'm going to tell you this. I like Mickelson.
Oh, God.
And here's why, George. He played
I've
pretty
got some Xanax in the back.
He played pretty solid for 2 days.
Heather, come get him.
He played solid for 2 days last week.
Okay.
2.5.
All right.
And it's Augusta.
You got to be kidding me.
Nope.
Hey,
Okay.
my starting 4 in my fantasy league: Bubba, Dustin, Phil, and Freddie.
Yep.
I'll get some points.
Oh, yeah, you will. Absolutely.
But I'm telling you,
Okay,
Mickelson,
let me throw
it's
a couple of
Augusta.
my horses out there. Jimmy Walker.
Duh. That's
Okay.
my number 1 pick. I gave you that the last week.
Okay. I'm just saying. Is this the time also for Justin Rose to pick up an Augusta, to pick up a Masters?
No.
Don't think so?
Don't buy it. No.
No?
No.
I've had him on my team 6 times in the last 24 hours. He's off right now.
Oh, Johnny come lately. Do I do on him? Do I don't? Do I don't?
No, I don't buy it.
So you don't put him up there.
No.
So basically what we've got is
I think
Jason Day.
I think he'll make the cut and be a part of conversation, but no, I don't see him
okay.
there.
Okay. So what name are you going to throw out other than Phil? Please come up with another one. Please.
You want a good one?
That is going to be that final 9 holes that I'm there Sunday afternoon, because I'm going to be following the last group Sunday, and then actually I'm calling in to our live broadcast here at TGD. The golf director will be broadcasting live for the 4th round of the Masters, and I will be at Augusta following the last group, and we'll be calling in, making reports for that live broadcast. So tell me who, and whatever name you come up with, Bubba, they're probably not going to be in the last pairing.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because
So-
if we knew that, George, we wouldn't be so poor and we'd be rich.
Well, I'd still be poor, but
But
I got ex-wives.
Yeah, well, I got one. But he's been hurt. Some reason I'm not going to pick him. But I tell you what, you're going to have another heart attack.
No, I'm good. I took my pills before I came. I knew we were going to do this.
I
So
like
took
the
my
I
pills.
like the player that wears as much hair product as you do.
All right, dude. Fill the world in.
Ian Poulter.
Oh, my gosh. That's it. I'm done. Take me out. Just go ahead and cut my mic off. You have got to be kidding me.
Nope. I'm not.
Wow. Dude.
These postmaster shows are going to be fun.
Ian Poulter.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. You know he doesn't have the European emblem on his bag. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
And he's not wearing the same colors as everybody else from Europe's wearing at Augusta.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Wow.
He is playing at a Masters, though. He is teeing it up.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely he is.
He is obviously in the top 50 in the world.
Yeah. Ian Poulter. I got to write this down. We are recording this, aren't we? I sure hope so. Okay.
And you go ahead and pick your boy Hunter Mahan, because I know that's who you're wanting.
No, you
and Chili Chunk, y'all can go get your chili dog together.
I would love to go chunk and dunk. I would love to go chunk and dunk, but I just can't do it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's got too much sun on his face. He looks a little sunburned. I don't know.
I mean, you both got the.
But what do you think about Patrick Reed coming up lame this week?
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. That's surprising.
I mean, he showed it the final round last week in Houston.
Did you see him
running
the caddy race? I mean, racing his caddy after he made the hole in one. He sprinted, raced his caddy to the next tee box.
Yeah.
And now he's lame.
Well, evidently he messed up a ligament or something in his knee. So, and evidently it's pretty painful.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to get injections and try to get this calmed down before this week.
Well, I've had him in my shoulder. It doesn't do a bit of good.
But my point is, and you know this as well as anybody, that's not exactly the place you want to go into like Jose Maria Othabo with the foot problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is not Augusta National with its elevation change is not the place you want to go in with a bad gimpy leg.
And you're going to be hitting shots where your one knee's going to be above or below.
We've seen that with
other.
Tiger. I mean, he decided to back out last year just simply because his quote-unquote back or leg or finger or arm or head or whatever was broke. So, you never know with Tiger. So, I don't know. It's just interesting how he has fallen to the side. Like fantasy golf the other night. I'm listening to them. My goodness, Patrick Reed was like he's not even on the tour anymore. He's just disappeared. And everybody's just assuming that leg is going to be the problem. What if he's okay?
Yeah, could be. I mean,
can he pull this off? He is
if he's healthy, I would say he would be he would be one of the top 10 that you'd look at to pick. Absolutely.
Yeah. Who is this? Is this another year for a Charles Schwartzel, Mark Immelman?
Not Mark.
Trevor. Sorry, Trevor Immelman. Is this another year for a European? That's where I was going. How about you? Good for you. Little love there, baby.
I like the guy. I like Charles Schwartzel's game, period.
Hugh just shows me a name. Well, Schwartzel's off my list as of yesterday. He put 2 in the water on 12 during his practice round. So that's images in his mind.
Dude, that's like Muhammad Ali sitting in there running around the boxing ring by himself. That's shadow boxing.
No, that's okay.
It doesn't mean anything.
He had visions of Tiger hitting 8 irons. I'm sorry. I gotta remove him psychologically. Hugh just showed me the name he had written down, and I actually wrote down that same name as far as a European player who's not a marquee name.
He's not European.
Okay.
He's South African.
He's South African.
Yes, I'm telling you now.
As far as that player, international player, that is not a marquee name, but realistically should be put on everybody's blitz screen, and that's Victor Dubuisson.
Well, hang on. You see the other one on the bottom?
Schwartzel.
And then Dubuisson. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like them both.
Oh. I mean, Charles is, I think, the best swing in golf.
It's one of if it's not
it's
one of them.
I think the best
swing. And he's got some
golf.
of the best rhythm, and that's why I think he has been so successful at Augusta, and can be again.
Let's hope that. It's like Louis Oosthuizen. You take Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel and put them side by side, it's almost like they came from the same egg.
Yeah.
Their swings, their where they are at position at the top, where they are at the bottom, where they are with the club head. I mean, it's just amazing watching their swings. It was almost like one copied the other one. Victor Dubuisson, he's got one of the nastiest bulldog streaks in any one golfer that I've ever seen.
I have to agree with you 100%. He's just one of those. I mean, he proved that in the match play. We've talked about this in the past. But, I mean, the guy, you just put him somewhere and give him a challenge, you can just get out of his way.
Of the Koreans, Japanese, Hideki Matsuyama, So Young No, of those players,
I'm going with Sang Moon Bae.
I agree. That's who I went with.
Call Ripley's, believe it or not. We agreed.
Yep. That's who I went with. Yep. No doubt about it. I just think what he's done over the last several weeks, his mindset right now, he's got that burden off his shoulders. He knows he deserves to be out here. Yeah, and he's a worker, dude.
Oh, yeah.
He come from humping bags and filling bags and dragging bags and whatever he had to do to make a check to get on the big show. You know, he's done what he's had to do.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I think he is one of those picks, and you know, and just looking at this, George, you know, it's just a shame, you know, the people that have, a couple people that had to withdraw. I know one of them slipped my mind, but Mark Leishman, you know, our hearts go out to him in prayers because of his wife, and you know, him having understandably withdraw for that, her being put in induced coma because of an illness. But I mean, you just look at this. Ben Crenshaw's last Masters.
Right.
I mean, you know, probably close to Larry Mize or Woosnam's. You got a lot of great old players and winners here that, you know, they've just said this golf course has gotten too long. And I'm curious to see how it affects even some of these younger players that aren't necessarily your longer hitters.
Jeff, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll go through a few of the other players and let's talk a little bit about the golf course, what we think it is this year and all that. And, of course, I'll be able to give you an on-site update later on TGD, of course, as we cover live the fourth round of the Masters. But let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue with our coverage of the 2015 Masters. Of course, the 79th edition is George and Hugh on TGD Today.